Hey guys, welcome into the show. My name is Tyler Kluver. I'm a former Division 1 athlete. I now run a fitness coaching business as well as a sports media brand that creates podcasts, sells merchandise, and creates other exclusive content. This show is a place for me to document my thoughts on fitness, health, nutrition, maybe some business or mindset stuff, as well as update anyone listening on my own competitive fitness endeavors and life events. I want everybody that comes and listens to this show to take something away that can make their life better, whether it's a diet or fitness tip or a way of thinking about things that motivates you to be better in your own life. Hopefully, we can get that done. But regardless, I'm glad you're here. Let's have a day. Let's go. Welcome back in. Snap Podcast here for another episode, another week. And had a couple things I wanted to talk about today. Sort of one of those coffee pods where you sit down for 10 minutes. I hit over a couple of quick hitters and then we get out of here. And I kept trying to think of more stuff or trying to think of something specific for this episode, but sometimes I'll literally just hit the button. It counts down 3, 2, 1, go. The music plays, and I just force myself to get into it. So here we are, another podcast. Glad you guys are here. As always, let's maybe churn something out of this thing, out of my rambling thoughts that could be used as positive. I think I got maybe a couple ones today. Um, quick update. Quick update. Where are we with our own training? Uh, what season are we in? What are the goals right now? What are the short term and the long term goals? Because, and I think this is one of the big things. I mean, it could be work, it could be life, it could be your family, it could be your income, it could be your personal fitness, whatever your hobby is. If and maybe you don't have goals of progressing or getting better or advancing in whatever it may be, but I think if you do, I think you have to take inventory on a serious, like very thorough level of your entire situation at least twice a year. Could depend on what area or endeavor you're kind of in, but with fitness, with the fitness goals, I think it's a twice a year thing. That also might be somewhat because the last 2 years I've been hurt exactly 6 months apart, basically every 6 months. I'm currently breaking the streak right now of every 6 months being hurt, over the last 2 years, so knock on wood, cross your fingers for me. And that certainly is like, involuntary, externally imposed inventory of, "Hey, where am I at? What am I capable of doing?" But I think if it's your business, and I say this because I just did it with the business yesterday, the Wash Up Walk-Ons, um, and the fitness stuff. I do it with the fitness stuff sort of more on a monthly basis. But you really like, when you're managing a lot, and maybe this is a parent thing too, when you're managing a lot and you become an adult and you have responsibilities, uh, wife and I bought a house. We're going to be moving in 2 weeks. We have a daughter. I run two different businesses. And then I have these hobby fitness competitive goals. It's just a lot. And you can get into the rhythm of waking up every single day and just punching the clock. And you don't want to get stuck doing that, because in today's world, with most everything, you can punch a clock and you can be okay. You can be average. You can meet the line of satisfaction. You're going to end up like everybody else, though. You're going to end up like everybody else. It is an active pursuit if you want to be different, if you want to be better. And when you get really good at something, if you have been on that pursuit, it becomes even more of something you have to direly focus on to get any little bit better, any more progress. For those who are listening who have lifted for a very long time, just let's just talk about straight lifting weights. It's a perfect example. If we got stronger perpetually for the rest of time, assuming that we just stayed on a weightlifting program, then 50, 60, 70-year olds, I mean, hell, let's take age out of it because obviously you get older and you start to not be able to do what you can. Take someone who's healthy, let's call it up to 45 or 50 years old, where you're not really significantly crushed by the impact of aging. If those people who have been lifting for 15, 20, 25, 30 years since their teens just kept getting stronger at the same rate that they did the first time they picked up a barbell or picked up some dumbbells, they'd be lifting thousands of pounds at this point. 10 years in, 15 years in, I've been writing my own programming. I've been lifting since 5th grade, 2005. So next year will be 20 years that I've been lifting weights. Now, legitimately, I've been lifting since like 7th grade, but we're coming up on 2 decades. It's it's months, potentially years in between personal bests right now for me. Now, fortunately, I've taken up a sport of CrossFit where there's so many things to work on. And of course, that extends itself outside of lifting. There's gymnastics, there's cardio, everything involved, basically everything you can possibly do. I actually listened to a podcast that sort of hits on this topic. You can technically go in the gym and PR every single day. If one day you decide to PR your new 8-rep bent over row, and the next day you go in and you're going to PR your max sit-ups in 4 minutes, and then the next day you go in and you PR your max dead hang, like you can just pick the most abstract, obscure movements with weird parameters and settings around them that like every day you can go in and set a PR. But on the big stuff, on the squats, the deadlifts, the bench, extend that out to the power clean, the clean, the snatch, the big movements. It's really, really hard. And so you have to be even more dialed. I think that's something that the kids use nowadays. Locked in, dialed. You have to be both of those things in spades if you want to grow, get better, get stronger, get faster, make more at your job, whatever it may be, if you've already been in this pursuit. And that's why we're here. It's part of what this podcast is about. Um, it's like we're not trying to be average. And so I think big takeaway for today, something that I was able to do yesterday, specifically with the media business, and something that we'll kind of finish this podcast talking about more extensively on the fitness side of things for me, is take inventory for yourself. Because you could look up 3-4 months down the road, you could even be on a program, and you're like, I don't remember what my goal is. What am I training for? What was the goal of these 3 months? Like, yeah, sure, I got a little bit stronger, but what was my North Star? So it was good to do that business wise. Um, and I'll say sometimes yesterday was maybe an anxiety induced. Well, I won't go into too many details, but I have a family to provide for. I have now a house to pay for. I have all these things. And it's something where when you're self-employed, you are always worried about where the money's coming in from. And when that gets threatened a little bit, or the 1 year, 3 year, 5 year outlook maybe changes, and you're not quite so sure of the stability of what you're doing, it puts things into focus. So, not to say that the podcasting or anything, it's just like sometimes the numbers aren't what you want them to be. Sometimes, sometimes you get, you just get a random little bit of anxiety of like, I don't know if I can keep this up. That's honestly most of it. All things that have to be dealt with in the world of entrepreneurship. Anyways, 10 minutes in on the fitness side of things, last couple minutes here, we'll talk about where I'm at. Like I said, we are now, God, it feels like it was a month ago. We ran the race on June 1st, and it's only 18 days later. Like it's 2.5 weeks since my race. Um, Again, we PR'd that if you weren't following along, but for some reason you pick up this podcast randomly. I ran a half marathon 2.5 weeks ago. We ran 1:48. Not a bad time, but I'm not breaking any records. It is a PR for me, and ultimately that was the goal. Um, Before that race, I had completely stopped lifting weights for 2 or 3 weeks. So we are now at, you know, I started back truly lifting Monday of this week. So today will be week day 3 back. I'll call it a full month off of lifting. And we're talking not like I go in and I do, some stuff to get a quick little pump. We're not, and like, you know, not just going away from a full on heavy strength program with the compounds. We're talking, we didn't touch metal for a month. And that's a scary thing to do. I have now done it involuntarily and voluntarily, probably over a handful of times. So I know that you can maintain strength mentally. I'm a little bit better at focusing in on, okay, I can do this. I can take 2, 4, 6 weeks off of lifting and nothing drastic happens. Part of that is I also have the rest of my life in check, right? I know how to manipulate diet. I know how to manipulate uh, daily movement and energy expenditure without having to do the weightlifting. Part of it was also the fact that I didn't completely stop exercise. I stopped lifting weights specifically to help not get hurt, make my body feel better for those first 2 to 3 weeks. I was still running 25, 30 miles a week. So there was plenty of exercise. Um, all of these things have nuance to them, but we're back into lifting. We're back into CrossFit. The overarching goal is the 2025 CrossFit season. I am not young in this sport by any means. I am older than average. Peak is around 27, 28 for a man. I'm 29, going to be 30 this year. I probably have 3 legitimate seasons left if I want them, where I will compete as a 30, 31, 32-year old. And then who knows, another kid. Who knows what I'm doing work wise. I'm not going to be able to run this train forever. And at that point, I'm also approaching the masters division where I would compete as a 35-year-old, which may be in the cards, but there's not unlimited years left in this pursuit. So we're trying to squeeze everything we can out of it. And the way we're going to do that is we're fully bought in to my buddy, former strength coach of mine in college, Nick DeMarco's programming. He started his own CrossFit programming. It's amazing. It's really, really well thought out. It's the first program probably definitely in the 3 years that I've been doing competitive CrossFit, and definitely since college, that I trust 95% of the program. And then there's always just going to be a component of I need to specify for myself, because it's hard to program a singular program that fits multiple people and their very diverse needs in the sport of CrossFit. So that 5-10% extra, I just kind of have to throw in on myself, knowing what my weaknesses are. That is the goal right now. Eventually, when we turn the corner on the year, 6 months from now, we're in January. We'll be full time. We will be full swing open prep. At that point, the volume will be 2 to 3 hours a day. Right now, we're sticking to right about an hour or 75 minutes a day. And that's intentional. We are going to run this one session per day for the rest of the summer. Part of that is I love nothing more in the world right now, not even CrossFit, than spending time with my wife and my kid while they're home for the summer. Kid's not at daycare because she goes to a teacher only daycare, so she's home for the summer. Wife's home for the summer. They are my favorite. All I want to do is spend time with them and work out as little as I have to. So 75 minutes a day until we hit middle of August. We're basically looking at 2 months of ramping our intensity from an hour to 75 minutes to 90 minutes, maybe pushing some sessions upwards of 2 hours. The daily volume, weekly volume will not get much higher than that until we get into the heat of the fall, more towards winter. Um, Lifting's good. I hit a two. I've hit several sessions where I hit a 225 snatch already, and the 225 did not feel super heavy. I feel like 245 I could pretty much hit any day, and you know, all time best is 255 or 260 on the bar. I kind of work off of an assumed max of 265. Clean and jerk, we're lacking a little bit there. The squat is behind. That is what goes the most when I don't lift, is my top end squat ability. So we're talking max front squat, max back squat. Those are very low right now because I just have not done any. I've lost weight, I've lost muscle mass through the running program. So the main focus right now is squat, 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 get beefy, get thick, juicy, strong, build our squat back up to clearly over 400 pounds, build our front squat back up to 350 plus, and then continue to work on jerks, so that when the season rolls around, I can comfortably clean 325, clean and jerk 325, 330 around there. Snatch two. I'm hoping I would love to push for a 270 snatch, 275 snatch. And then, just be great at cycling a barbell. Continue with our zone 2 cardio, plenty of that in this program. And sort of the new focus for this year is absolutely laying the hammer down on some of the Metcon stuff. Like the once or twice a week, I have to go game speed. And that is not something that I've done the last couple of years. I need to work game speed more often. That is what we're trying to do. I did it yesterday. It hurt real fucking bad. 40, 20, 10 of calories on the rower and burpees lateral over the rower. Absolute burner. We're going to keep on firing on this program, and I'll continue to give you updates, but we're already starting to see body comp changes, fitness changes in one-ish week of being back from vacation and the running and all this stuff. So we're happy about it. We're going to keep on banging. Moral of the story today is if you haven't in a while, take inventory. Take stock of your life, of your goals. Are your actions meeting what your goals said you were going to do? Are your actions matching what is required to reach your goals, your dreams, your aspirations? Your excuses aren't valid. They definitely won't be in the pursuit of those dreams. Go get it done today. Be a savage. Talk next week.